I have a lot of people in the comments asking me about why I don't just use a different carburetor. Why don't I get myself a modern carburetor for this bike? And I say, why not rebuild it? I've got other carburetors that I could choose from. As a matter of fact, I have a large array of different carburetors that I could choose from. I've even got another model that is exactly the same except for a newer version of the carburetor that I took off of this bike. Zenith Bendix. But you see, the other one that I'm rebuilding is period correct for this bike. And there's certain aspects of this bike that, for whatever reason, I want to be a certain way. Actually, I want all the aspects of the bike to be a certain way. But certain ways are different than other certain ways if you follow the way I've drifted. Now, if I was building a big, long, late 60s, 70s model chopper, I'd want to have this SU carb on there, because they stick way out and they look really cool. At least in my eyes, really cool on a long, skinny chopper. And back in the 70s and 80s, people were taking SU carburetors that were primarily on British sports cars and adapting them to work on Harley-Davidson choppers. So that would have been cool on that bike. But that's not what I'm building. I'm not building a long, skinny chopper. I'm building an early 60s or late 50s style bobber. Now, I've got a regular size S&S, but I've also got this shorty, so I could put that on there and tuck it in there. See, S&S wasn't even a company when people were first building bobbers in the 50s. They came along years later in the 60s. I think it was the 60s when S&S actually began. But I don't have any idea when they started selling their S&S carburetors that they're famous for, because it's not in this catalog from 1987-88. Could just be the wrong catalog, though, because I know they were selling the S&S carburetors in the 80s. But not in the 50s. And I could use a Mikuni, or, yeah, another Zenith that I have, or this style Harley CV carburetor. So you see, it's not that I'm limited by choices that I'm rebuilding this carburetor. It's that for me and a lot of different people that are involved in motorcycles, part of the objective is Zen. No, not Zen. Zen. And the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. If you've never read it, then you won't get what I'm saying. But if you have read it, you know exactly what I'm saying. Especially if you've had the good fortune to have motorcyclism adventures and experiences together as father and son.